Thank you all for joining this live. My name is Dr.elle Moore. I'm excited about the show today. We want to get started right away. So the important housekeeping rules I'd like to share with you is that you should subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is dr.elle TV. Follow me on Instagram, which is dr.elle TV. And make sure you share this information. Dr.elle TV's purpose, which is my purpose for the show, is to promote local businesses, number one, bring highlight to people that are doing phenomenal things in the community, and also share and discuss enlightened concepts. This journey called life teaches us a lot, and the lessons that we learn are not simply for ourselves, but they are to be shared with other people. And so this particular show, I have two amazing, wonderful people, and I want to get started right away. I want them to be able to share a little bit about themselves, and then we can get started. Before we do that, also, I've written 2 books, and the third one is on its way. The first book is called Venom to Victory. It's all about relationships, how to know if the person you're with is the right one, how to set up boundaries, what are your standards, how to interact on a date. Yes, everyone should have it. The guys and the women both like Venom to Victory. The second book, which is less popular but my favorite, is called Unlearning, Escaping Scriptural Manipulation, Enhancing Spiritual Consciousness. And that really, it's an autobiography of my journey from being raised in a Christian home to actually still keeping some of those foundational values, but actually seeing God in a completely different way, where God revealed itself to me in a way that was completely different from anything that I knew based on my Christian upbringing. So if that is you and you would like to know more about God outside of what you traditionally hear from a Sunday morning pulpit, and you want to make sure that the things you are hearing are not, that you're not by yourself in how you're feeling, that is the book for you. And both are available on Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and you can get them from me directly, which means I get all the money back in my pocket.
Amen. That's what she said.
Thank you so much. So let's get started with the show. And I will turn the floor over to these 2 beautiful women and let them share with you a bit about themselves. Whichever of you wants to go first.
Well, my name is Jamila Collins. I am a native of Columbus, Ohio. Literally been here all my life. This is home to me. I grew up in the Columbus public school systems. I graduated from Eastmore High School a long time ago.
Before it was Eastmore Academy.
Before it was Eastmore.
Okay.
Before it became
the real
Eastmore High School. I went on to attend Wilberforce University, which is the first historically Black private university in the nation, owned and operated by African Americans in Southern Ohio. I majored in marketing. I came home. I worked for a few financial institutions, a couple nonprofits, and then around in 2013, I had this moment from God, and it was imparted into my spirit to mentor young girls. So I started a mentoring program for girls between the ages of 9 and 13 called Bumblebees. And we have 10-month workshops throughout the year, and we just give the girls basic information they need to know to navigate through this preteen stage, and we back it up and support it with biblical principles. The girls go through this program and they graduate at the end of the year, and the thing that I love the most is the ones who come back. So it's an impartation upon impartation. So the girls, they take what they've learned and they come back and they give it back to the little girls that are coming through. So we've been doing that for 6 years. We're on our 6th cycle this year. I am super geeked. Not surprised because God told me it's going to happen like that.
Yes.
But super, super excited about what is coming down the pipe.
My name is Tasha Macklin. I am not from Columbus originally. I'm actually from Lima, Ohio.
Really? Really?
Chop it up a little bit.
She in Ohio though.
She's in Ohio.
Still in Ohio.
Born and bred.
Northwest Ohio. But yeah, so no, but I moved here about 4 years ago, and I did that really because I wanted a change. I wanted something different, and wanted to be able to kind of step out on my own. And you know, when you stay where you're from, it can kind of isolate you and box you in. So I wanted to get out of where I was from. But I traditionally went to school, got a lot of education, you know, did all the things I was told to do, and kind of felt that it wasn't for me. So I decided to kind of launch out on my own, do some things in business that were very uncomfortable. So if you find yourself in an uncomfortable place, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be doing it. So that's free information.
Okay. Actually, you can cash at me for that. Send it to me. Thanks.
Right? So just because you're uncomfortable doesn't mean it's not for you. It just means that you need to grow a little bit. So got into finance, which again was very uncomfortable for me because number one, I had accumulated a lot of student loan debt. So I knew nothing about money whatsoever. And then also it was uncomfortable for me because I'm not a math person. By default, I don't like math. So
By default.
it's just something that I was never really good at. And I've always been a people person. So I found something that was, able to kind of combine the two together and really stretch me. So I'm challenged every day with what I do, but I'm excited for it too. So it's a little bit about me.
Awesome. So you guys ready for some questions and answers?
Sure.
Let's do it. All right. So we know this is Black History Month. And so some of the quotes I'm going to share are from some prominent Black successful women. Okay? So Ella Fitzgerald says, just don't give up. What you're trying to do, where there is love and inspiration, I don't think you can go wrong. So the first question I want to pose to the two of you are, and both of you touched on this a little bit, what originally ignited, which you've already covered, but the second question is, what continues to fuel your passion as a business owner?
I'm taking this one.
Go ahead.
For real, what continues to keep me motivated every single day are the little girls that I touch. I know that it was not by happenstance. It was definitely designed for me to be in their lives in some kind of way. And so every day that I'm making a decision, I'm thinking about how it's going to affect them, how it's going to propel, of course, the organization, but how it's going to assist them later as they become women. So those little faces and those questions they ask sometimes, you talk about stretching.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I'm like, let me go back and see what I'm supposed. Okay, let me get back to you. But no, it's them. It's the girls that have been placed in my stead who keep me going, who keep this passion.
Because you know there's purpose in it.
Absolutely.
There's purpose in the relationship.
Absolutely, there's purpose in it.
Yeah, mine's a little similar, except for I don't have them right in my face. But you always have the people that are watching you. I think that especially in a world with social media and all the things that we have going on, there's definitely people watching. But it's not just the positives that you go through, but the negatives that you go through too. When people are able to see you kind of fall, and you're transparent about that. And I don't have all the answers. I gotta go find them. I'll find them for you. I'll bring them back. But it's really to, those people that are watching, whether that's men, women, girls, boys, whoever it might be. This is, my story similar to theirs. If they overcame, I can overcome. That's one thing I always keep in the back of my mind is, I'll say, oh, this is hard. But what's it hard compared to? Compared to whose story? Compared to what?
Yeah.
So that's kind of one of the biggest things that I think kind of keeps me going. Yeah.
And you know what, actually, so I have a little boy, and everyone's like, well, how does that, how do you balance the two? And I think for the same reason that I do it for them, I do it for him too, just to let him know there are no limits. Yes, I prefer you to go get an education.
And cash at me for that one too.
Let me say that again.
Right. Just for the louder for the people in the back. But I want him to understand that, it's not just about male and female. It's about people, about us as our people. I want him to know that you can go out there, you can start your own thing. You do not have to go to a 9 to 5 every single day and work for somebody else. You can definitely get up and do it on your own. So, yes, both.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. So both of you hit on something that I want to bring up. Talk a little bit about, well, let me say this first. Chuck Moody. I'm not sure if you all are familiar with Chuck Moody, but he is he's growing to be the world's best, greatest architect. And Chuck Moody has been earning awards and everything for over 35 years for his architectural skill and ability. But he did a show on NBC4 2 weeks ago and said he's still having to produce receipts simply because of the color of his skin.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like for the two of you to maybe answer, how has Black culture, stigma, stereotypes around Black businesses positively or negatively impacted your authenticity in building your brand?
Well, I'll take this one first. Honestly, I think mine has been twofold. Being a woman in finance is tough in and of itself, to be honest, because there is a very small percentage of women who even go into finance. So that's kind of a portion. And then being a Black woman makes that percentage even smaller. In our community, you know, there is that stigma that we don't think about saving, investing. We do have a history that kind of plagues us where the information was kept from us. It was intentionally kept from us. And for, you know, now it's a matter of getting people interested in something that they weren't interested in before, making that a priority, because the lie that we're being told is that we don't have any money, and that's just not true.
Absolutely.
We have the money, it's just not used and utilized the way that it can be. So getting that message out there, it's kind of an uphill battle, you know, running uphill constantly. And then, like I said, being a woman in the field, it's like, well, what do you really know about money? Well, to be honest, the way things are shifting, women handle more of household money, making purchases and things like that. We may not make as much as our male counterparts in certain situations, but we do control the money once it gets home. So that's something that's important to know too. So it's a struggle, but it's one that I'm, you know, willing
And you
to,
can see the progress change.
yeah, for sure.
Well, I know from a standpoint of, I wouldn't say that it's plaguing us, but I think it's something that I kind of intentionally take on myself, because I'm always thinking, okay, they expect us to be late, or people expect us not to keep our word or calendar. So when I'm sending out information, I let it be known, we will start on time. This is the schedule set for us. So I try to remain being a woman of my word. So if we say we're going to do something, we're going to do it, and we're going to do it at the time that was scheduled. So it's little things like that that I just keep in the back of my mind, like, well, I do not want to play into the stereotype.
Sure.
Right.
So I try to avoid it at all costs.
How does that affect your branding? And is that a genuine, like that's a genuine part of your brand
I think
for both of you?
I think it is definitely, I'm saying, I think it is definitely part of my brand, because when parents come to me, they know I need to be here at 1 o'clock to pick up my daughter. I need to be here at 10 in order for her to get the full experience. We're going to go to this location. I need to make sure I'm on time, because Jamila will keep it moving. And just with the calendar, so people, you know, they have lives, you know, so during the summer we've got vacations and stuff that I have to adhere to. So if I say that we're going to meet on a certain Saturday, I need them to understand we're going to meet on a certain Saturday. And then too with it, you know, I have a very strict attendance policy. So, because, I mean, it's a 10-month program.
Yes, I hear you.
You can't do 5 and think you're going to
But
graduate.
people respect where you put boundaries.
Exactly, they do. And so when I say this is what it is, they adhere to it, and they know if you don't graduate. If you do, you graduate. You become a bumblebee. So just keeping to those rules that I've already set for myself, and then expecting the young ladies too, because they adhere to the rules as well. So they're like,
Yeah.
oh, if she's not showing up, then what do I need to show up? So
Yeah.
I don't want them to take on that thought process as well. So
Absolutely.
And how does finance and the legacy that you're creating, just like you've created with your girls, how does that affect you and your brand? Or how do you put your brand into that?
The biggest thing I think is the professionalism that goes along with it, the care that goes along with it. I think that, when you think of money, a lot of times people think they have to start out with a bunch of money to, finance anything, to purchase anything, to even start their financial journey. It's like, oh, well, I'll start when I have something. And I'm like, no, you won't. you'll never get to that point, right? So really just the professionalism and the seriousness. I want them to know, I care about their finances like it were my money. I'm going to give you the same advice that I give myself. I want to see you be successful. I'm not successful if my clients aren't successful. So I want to see that for them. And I think, when they see that you care genuinely about them and what their goals are financially, it's important.
Mm-hmm. That's good stuff. Both. Y'all see why I have them on the show? Y'all see these nuggets that they drop in? Okay, let's switch it up a little bit. How have your romantic relationships challenged or influenced your business? And are men intimidated? Or can you be a boss in both facets?
I will say this. I absolutely believe you can do both.
Yeah.
I do not believe that we should limit ourselves. Say, oh, well, I have to give up my time doing this in order to support this relationship. Absolutely not. Now, have I found somebody I can do that with? No. No.
We working on that. So, as her friend,
this is just a shameless plug.
Okay? Call me, because she's fine. She is intelligent. She has a beautiful spirit. Let me know, because I'm gonna set you up with my home. Okay? Got it.
So yeah, I absolutely believe we can have it all. I really, really do. I don't believe the God that we serve would limit us in that way. So I absolutely think we can do both. But in the intimidation factor, I don't know if there's an intimidation factor. I know that the feedback that I've received has been, because you know what you want, and once you, like you said, setting boundaries is not just within your business, but it's within your personal life. So sometimes when you lay that plan out, and it doesn't have to be on the first date.
Please don't.
Please don't do that.
Wait a little while.
No, wait just a minute.
Don't hit them over the head with it. You gotta gradually slide it, just third conversation.
Get to know you process, expectation conversations that you should absolutely have. That's when you start kind of saying, okay, this is what my expectations are, these are my boundaries are. And you're gonna have those people that test those boundaries and you throw them back. Or you let them in. Some people that let them slide, but it depends on what those are for you. So it's a struggle.
I need that question read again.
Yeah, I had to write some stuff down. Hold up. Boundaries. Okay, so do you want to answer, or do you want me to? Because I have some follow up from that.
Go ahead.
So my follow up then is, as business women. In your relationships, what are those boundaries that you set?
Your time.
Your time.
What that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably one of the biggest things is, you're not going to be able to focus on a relationship 24/7. And I think that's something that, in my personal opinion, shows low self-esteem, and that doesn't necessarily mean on one side or the other. It could be both.
Sure.
But anytime someone needs all of your attention all of the time, or why didn't you answer my phone call, or didn't you see my text 2 hours ago? I'm busy, not in a rude way, but I'm busy, and you need to know that there will be times like that. Mm-hmm. And just like I can understand that if you're working, you can't answer me right away. Those types of things. So I think time is for sure a boundary that you have to set.
Absolutely.
Time boundary.
And then on top of that, I'm a mom. So, and you're about to learn.
Yeah.
So, you will learn very soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, that it's a time factor. The time factor.
I'm so happy for my friend. But I just found out. So we'll talk about that later. I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine.
Please
You're fine.
continue.
No, I was just going to echo what Tasha said. It's that time. Because, being a mom, I have to make sure that he's taken care of as well as his business. And there are peak times. So I typically let people know October to January, good luck. Because I'm ending a cycle and then beginning a new one, and then making sure that looks like something. It looks good to the girls that I have. So But yeah, you know,
Time boundaries.
Yeah,
Time
for
boundaries.
But I think you, like she said, I think you can do both. You absolutely can do both. I think it takes two very mature people to do both. I've seen, you know, a lot of situations, whether they're my personal situations or friends of mine or things like that, where, you know, one person isn't mature enough to take on that challenge. Because it does take a lot. It takes
I've
a lot
seen
to, you know, juggle schedules and things like that. And unfortunately, we live in a world where everybody's always busy, whether it's busy for good reason or not. They're always busy. So you have to prioritize things and really have two people who are willing to prioritize the relationship for that to work. I think, honestly, in my personal opinion, two people who are entrepreneurial in the same facets, I think they can understand a little bit better. It's just been my experience that that's the way that goes. You know, things in common help you to understand. Other people who have a 9 to 5, they're like, okay, after 5, I'm done. I have nothing to do. And you're like, oh,
No,
well.
right.
But the second
5
half
is
of
where
my
I
day,
get everything done.
right?
This,
So
is like,
after 5,
this is like halftime for, you know, dinner. And
Yep.
then I go, you know, for several more hours. So, yeah.
I think the both of you hit on two very important things that resonate with me: time boundaries and maturity. When we are successful Black women, we can't just partner with anyone who doesn't have the same driven mentality, maturity to handle everything that comes along with being a Black businesswoman. I mean, like you said, both of you said you have families, and then there are 3 caveats to our multiple facets of divinity. First of all, we're women. We're Black. And we own businesses. So having those 3, in addition to all the other wonderful things that we are, can cause additional challenges if the men in our lives or the men that want to come in our lives don't give us that freedom and that liberty and the support to continue pushing in those directions, and also have the capacity to understand the maturity of where we are in our businesses. So I love that the two of you mentioned
and
that.
support is a big thing. Too.
Yeah, talk about it.
That support is huge because, you know, sometimes you need a great cheerleader. Just like guys, when they're doing stuff, they want us to be a cheerleader. We want that same thing back. So we want that. Good job, babe. You did a great job with that graduation. You did a great job getting that client. You know, that extra support. And the support is also in respecting our time. So that's a way to support too. I don't need you yelling at me and saying, yay, but if you can support the fact that I need the space, like you said, halftime, I'm off of work, but then the other part of my day starts. So I need you to support me in understanding that we might not be able to do every single thing we want to do this week.
I think that's where some of the intimidation can come into. I think, you know, there's a level of success that's okay for women in society. And as long as you don't go past this, or you're not too much more than me, or you're not, you know, that can kind of start to get in, you know.
Because I'm everything.
So
So you just be prepared because
there's
I'm dope always. So
Yes.
just be ready for that.
So there's, you know, there's a headspace there that has to be mature for that. You know, it's you know, we are on the same team. We're not opponents. We're not fighting against each other. If I, you know, scored the winning play today, cheer for me.
Yes.
It might be you tomorrow.
Exactly.
And I'm going to do
Cheer
backflips for you. You know, and that's really what it has to be. I have been in some past relationships where that has been a problem. And it's, you know, I have a competitive spirit. So I'm like, I'm not going to not shine.
Hello?
Because you feel like it's too much.
Louder
Put
for
on
the
your
people
sunglasses
in the
or something, because this is just
You
who
can
I
cash
am.
at me for that. Yeah, you can cash at me for that. So we talked about cheerleading and support. What is the best support that you've received from a relationship?
I'm proud of you. That was amazing. I loved hearing that. I was struggling trying to put some stuff together, and I wasn't sure what it was going to look like. And at the end of the day, well, I know because I'm a perfectionist when it comes to the things that I put out related to bumblebees. I'm proud of you. I was like, oh, you made me cry. Thank you. I appreciate it. It was just that simple.
It's beautiful.
For me, I have two relationships that I know they've never had to say it, but it's always been, it doesn't matter what you do. I'm here, and whatever I can do, whatever to my capacity that I can do to support you, whether that's financially, whether that's time, whether that's whatever it is, I'm here. And I know that that's a standing kind of thing, and it makes me feel good because I'm like, I'm never really alone. I know that I have those relationships.
How would you say your spiritualities, how would you say those guide your business transactions, business relationships, your business as a whole?
Keeps me breathing. Keeps other people breathing.
I was about to say keeps other people breathing, because without, oh,
Yes.
goodness gracious, that would look like the peace.
What would that?
The peace of
Dead
God,
bodies.
you know,
Okay.
that's right.
We would not be smiling. Is what they're getting at. We would not be smiling.
Yeah. No, aside from, obviously, you know, because it's built into the curriculum that I give the girls, but I'm so big on character and integrity, and I think that goes along with being a Black woman, being a Christian Black woman, and just being able to walk and know that that is part of my brand as well, is having, you know, a strong character and people knowing that I'm an integritous person. Did I just make that word up?
You did, but I like it.
Thank you.
We are integritists.
Good word.
Keep going.
But so I make that part of it. New word. Yeah.
Okay.
Make that part. I've made that part of my brand, and but it's come from my roots of growing up as a Christian. It's just like these. Not saying that this is exactly what you got to do all the time, but I make the decisions, of course, led by the Holy Spirit for the most part, because I'm not perfect. But I try to adhere to that voice, that small voice that says this is the right thing to do in this situation. And to know, like I said, from the start, I have girls that are watching me, so I can. There are certain things that I can and can't do. That not just about can't. Certain things I will and won't do.
Sure.
Just because I know I have those eyes on me.
That's good.
I mean, for me, I think, especially since I've stepped out into something that's uncomfortable, like I said, on a regular basis, it causes me to lean even more on God than I did before, which I have found has made my relationship stronger. Because truly, if we're going to ask for God's help and then do what we want to do anyways, it doesn't generally work out too well. So for me, I wake up every day, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, so help. You know, and it's for someone who is kind of controlling, to be honest. And I think that probably most business people feel that way.
We do.
You know, you want to control everything, so it puts you in a position to, you know, be led.
Sure.
You know, and to really bring yourself into a place of submission. So that's something I get up every day, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna mess this up if you don't help me.
Exactly.
So, you know, sink or swim. I'm jumping, and you know, let's go. So it's caused me to really rely on God a lot more. So
Wow. I'm always the first person to yell, Jesus, take the wheel. But when I think we're back on good ground, I'm snatching that thing back. So I know
Right.
I know the control issues.
Right.
Believe me, I have them. So
Wow.
I get it. I get it.
Have either of you ever denied or turned down a client based on a vibe or an energy or something that was not up to your standard or your gut feeling?
You know what? The way that my life is set up, they kind of weed themselves out. It is like, cause I think I'm open because I'm dealing with little people. I think I'm open to accept anyone because I think, you know, the impartation can take a good root and flourish.
Sure.
But so I won't say that any of the children are, you know, issues. But you know, if I'm not vibing with a parent, they're not gonna continue the program. So. You know, and setting those boundaries and saying this is what I expect, they kind of leave themselves out. So I haven't had to do that yet, thank God.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, I deal with all adults, so It's a different playing field.
You just kick them out. You just,
We're not working together.
You know, it's,
Right.
it's, well, there's a certain level of commitment that comes with what I do too.
Okay.
So sometimes people weed themselves out. To be honest, you know, everybody wants to say the right thing. You know, oh, I'm gonna say, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to, you know, especially at the beginning of the new year. Everybody's got resolutions and things like that. They're usually financial, fitness, you know, those kinds of things.
The library will be open for another 29 minutes.
For me, it's like I kind of pick up on that. Is like, okay, well, I'm not going to allow you to waste my time because my time is valuable.
Absolutely.
So when you're actually ready to make this commitment for your finances, for your life, your legacy, your family, I should not care more about your things than you do. So you have my number, and I don't, you know, I never say to someone like, hey, I'm not going to take you as a client. I just follow up, and when they don't, I don't, and kind of let it go from there. So,
Yes. All right. So this is going to be a complete surprise to the two of them because I did not tell them any of this was going to happen in advance.
I don't. Well,
People that know me, they know I'm about my business, but in my comfort place, I am a jokester and the funniest comedian in the world. So what we're going to do is we're going to play a little game.
Okay.
And there are cards here. And there are questions on the back of these cards. And I'm going to ask each of them to pick a card and then answer the question whenever they are ready.
That looks like there's two cards. You're trying to hide a good one.
You know, that's the one that you should get. That's the one right there.
I'm gonna go with
That's hilarious.
Okay.
Oh, and may you also read the question before
Yes,
you answer it.
Sure. The question says the thing that I value most is, I would say, outside of my relationship with God, I would say my family. I come from a family that honestly I don't think is like a lot of families. It's me, my brother, my mom, and my dad growing up, and it was always 100% support. You know, as long as it's legal, moral, and ethical, we were able to do it. We were supported to do it, and we were always told you do it 100%. If you're going to do it, you don't quit, you give it your best, you can do whatever you want to. And I value the relationship with my family, with my mom, my brother. My dad has passed away, but those relationships are relationships that, you know, when it's time to have the support, when you don't feel like you have anything and they're like, I'm here, what do you need? You know, and they just show up. I've had people say to me like, wow, that's really amazing. So it's something that I hold near and dear to my heart. I don't know what I'd do without them, but that's you know, for me. So.
Well, my question says, the best advice I've given was, and it's something that I try to impart every single time, and it is KTS, know thyself. And I am so big on self-awareness and knowing what you're good at, knowing what you're bad at. Okay, let me rephrase that. Knowing what you can improve upon. Know what your strengths
Areas
and
of
weaknesses are,
opportunities,
right? Your areas of opportunities. Because it is so important. I feel like it's one of the greatest gifts that God has given most women. Some of us have not ventured into that, but for those of us who do, you can't be stopped when you know yourself.
Right.
Because you know that if someone says that you can't do something, you're like, it might not be within my immediate strength, but I'm gonna get it done somehow.
Wow.
Well,
You know?
me, that's like, okay.
It's
I'll
a
be
challenge.
back.
That's
Wow.
a challenge. Exactly.
I'll be back.
Exactly. And I wish so many more of us thought like that, took that as a personal challenge. But I feel like knowing yourself, knowing how to operate when you have and when you don't, when you're in abundance and when you're seemingly lacking. And I say seemingly because I don't think we ever are. I think it's a state of mind.
Wow.
So, yeah, I try to tell those girls, KTS, know thyself. be self-aware.
That's good. That's good. We got time for 2 more.
I was pulling some more.
Oh yeah.
I was just wanting to
No,
know.
we got some other questions. Got some other questions.
I'm gonna reach across the board.
Okay.
Ah.
Not for real.
Oh, you can't have that one.
Like really?
That was similar. Says the best advice I've ever received. So we're gonna have Jamila pick again.
Now you have to shuffle those. Well, just give me that one. She'll have to take that one. So my idea of success is, I think that, and this was a question, I think about this often actually, because I think it's different for everyone. I think it's different for everyone based on their own personal lives. What you want to accomplish, what is success to you, what makes you genuinely happy. My success definitely doesn't look like most people's, nor are most people willing to do what I'm doing to get to where I want to go. And I think that's important, like you said, to know yourself. You know, I see a lot of, with social media, a lot of people, you know, kind of getting into fights and nitpicking about, you know, well, maybe I don't want to do it that way, or maybe I don't want to do it this way. Okay, well, what's it for you? Keep scrolling.
Right.
It's fine. You know, no one was talking to you then. I was talking to the other people.
I didn't ask you in this
Right.
time.
People behind you, I was talking to you. So, you know, so whatever your success is, it has to come from some place where you know yourself and you're genuinely happy with wherever you're going to arrive. Whether that's, you know, leaving generational wealth for years and years, whether that's leaving generational wealth that looks different like bumblebees. Like, you know, for me, that impact lasts a whole lot longer, looks a whole lot different, and spreads across families that she will never meet. You know, so that looks a lot different, but it just depends on the person.
What does your idea look like?
Oh, for me, it's I gotta be the great grandmother that, you know, is hanging up above the fireplace in the entryway.
This
I
is,
mean,
this is who God is here. I want that one too. When
Not
the big
right?
like oil painting.
Oh.
You're like,
Say
there's
it.
great grandma
You have on a
Tasha.
hat? You have on a
And
hat?
she's, I don't know what
You
I got on. Jewelry.
She knows that she's over the fireplace. That's where we're at.
The big
Rhine's
expensive oil
diamonds.
That is
pearls.
real. That is so
Okay.
real. When I tell you, I just literally said a prayer about that this morning. Because I pray for my descendants.
Yeah.
And so yes, I want to be
Yeah.
that one. Like this.
I
want
want to be like the Rockefellers.
Yeah.
Like, how do we
Yes.
know him and we don't know our own
Exactly.
grandparents, great grandparents, people who have not people who didn't live in our generation. We don't know them.
Yeah.
We don't know anything about them. Some of us don't even know their names, unless you're an ancestry person like me. I done dug through all that.
I know.
But a lot of people don't, because why would I know them? What did they do?
Yeah.
They're honestly just somebody that was forgotten. I don't want to be forgotten.
But you won't be, because you're going to be on top of that fireplace.
That's
man.
right.
She's
I'll
gonna
be on
be
top of that
they have a
fireplace.
fireplace.
Okay, we need to get a fireplace
Practice,
so that we can hang pictures.
Great grandma Tasha
Okay.
paved the way for
We
the
get
yes.
this big
house.
old castle
Yes.
house.
Yes.
With the
Extra
circle
wings.
driveway.
Mhm.
And you got your own wing and I got mine. because she-
Absolutely.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Love it.
Mhm.
You going?
So,
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
That's yours.
I want it?
Yeah.
Okay. The best compliment I ever received was, so it's twofold.
Mm.
And it came from my two favorite people, my mother and my son. So, my mom told me when I was little that I was beautiful, and I didn't believe her. So I'm not going to sit here and tear up right now. Thank you. So,
Let me get some too. That way I don't tear up.
when I was the same age as the girls that I am mentoring right now, she told me that the reason why she named me Jamila was because I was beautiful.
Mm.
And because Jamila means beautiful. And I said, well, you picked the wrong name. And I know it probably crushed her little spirit, like, are you kidding me? And so because, in the 80s and 90s, it was back, it was, the thing had this long hair. Okay, y'all have me today. But, whole nother
I
story.
hear you. I hear you.
But we were not the standard of beauty, so I was not looking at myself as though I was beautiful. And it took a very long time for me to get to that place where I was like, I'm kind of dope.
Yeah.
and to really embrace it, and to believe it, and to own it. And today, I think about that anytime I'm having an ugly day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, oh, I was like, you're beautiful. And she tells me even to this day, like almost daily, you're absolutely beautiful.
Wow.
And so I'm like, oh, thank you, Mom. Now I can say, thank you, Mom. I
Thanks,
appreciate
Mom.
it. Thanks, Mom.
Mm-hmm.
And then secondly, my son, and this is so on the other polar opposite, but so one day she was out of town, and he wanted something. He wanted chili.
Mm.
My mom, for everybody that knows, she is the bomb cook.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I want some of Grandma's chili. And I'm like, I can make a mean chili. And I made it. And he told me it was better than Grandma's. I said, we're
Okay.
good.
Okay.
So I got the two.
Okay.
So those are my two. They ring in my ears. So whenever I'm
Yeah.
cooking, and he said, especially when I'm cooking chili, I'm like, yo, I got this.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Small but great victory.
Yes, I
Yeah.
love that.
Absolutely.
I love that. Well, that is going to conclude our show. There's one other thing that's extremely important that we discuss. How can people connect with either of you? How can they be a part of what you're doing? How can they invest in Bumblebees? How can they invest in your finance business?
You can follow me on Instagram. It's at Tash, TASHMACK, Tash Mack. Tasha Macklin on Facebook. You can connect with me on either one of those platforms. I usually have my phone in my hand all the time. So unfortunately, I'm trying to get away from that. So just connect with me there, and we can go from there.
And you can follow Bumblebees at Bumblebees Girls on Instagram and Twitter. We're on Facebook as Bumblebees. The website is www.bumblebees.com. We are a 501c3, so you can go ahead and donate and get your money back at the end of the year. So yeah, that's it.
Awesome. And then follow my pages. You're probably going to get better results by following dr.elle TV.